Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Bites is a game that we bought on impulse. We were at Dice Tower East, and I think All Play was there, and they were selling a bunch of these games, and we decided to take a chance on Bites. It looked cute, the components looked good, and we said, hey, this could be a good game for our family. What we got was what I call a conversation game. This is a game you kind of move some bits around, and you can kind of talk over it while you're playing it. Now, there's a little trickiness to how the scoring works. You're going to move the ants up, and you don't control any ants. There's no ants that are your ants. You move the ant up, you can take something before it or behind it, and you're going to collect the food that's going to be there. And that food is going to be worth points depending on what color ant gets to the ant hill first. The first one will be worth more points. So say it's purple, then the grapes that are purple are going to score more points. So you want to have more of those grapes. And you're always making these decisions based on how can I push the ant up, but also get the food that I want that I think is going to score the most points. Straightforward. The rules are simplistic. There aren't rules in here or exceptions to rules that are going to trigger anything in you. You could play this with nearly anybody. The rules are that simple. People who aren't into games aren't going to be tripped up or worried about the rule set. It's a very easy flow, and what you're doing makes a lot of sense. It also looks really good on the table. The components are really good. I think it presents very well. Once again, going back to my original comment, I think this is a conversation game. So I think it's one that, like, if you kind of overanalyze it, overthink it, bring analysis paralysis into it, I think the game is the worst for it. I think you kind of want to take your turns, move things along, and kind of be thinking about that as you go. The board is going to change based on what other players do, so you kind of have to reset a little bit, but you can kind of get an idea of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to collect. There are variants that allow the chocolate and the wine to kind of score differently, and there's some expansion content that you can add into it as you see fit. So there's a lot here in this box. I like this game quite a bit. It's one of those games that I'll pull out as a filler or something just to pass the time, so it'll stay in our collection. And a lot of that's going to do, yeah, the game is fun, kind of Cartagena kind of vibe to me, but the components elevated, I believe, and it make it a keeper for us. Here is Bites. I wanted to showcase it. I'm going to keep putting this away and putting it up. But this, you have to take this apart. It does not fit back in the box whatsoever. But this is the 3D anthill that you'll have in the game. Now, normally that would be put back inside. You see a really attractive little cover there. I like the look of this game. You're going to get an advertisement when you open it up, and you're going to have some components inside. Now, these are the cards you're going to get. These are tarot size. They have a really nice linen finish on them, and the artwork is cute enough for what it says. And you can see the words down here are easy to see. You're going to have some cardboard stuff that really serves no purpose. These logs, they don't do anything from a gameplay standpoint. And then you're going to have these bugs in different colors. They're really cute, these little ant guys, and they're really nice. Now, where the game really shines is these 3D food. If you can see, it looks like they've all had bites taken out of them. They're almost like two tokens put together. Maybe that's what they are. But they have a really cool 3D effect to them. And they look fantastic, as you can see all the different aspects of here. The game did come with some cheap bags. That's much appreciated, but that's most of the components right there. The components are really going to sell this game. The components are top-notch. The cards feel great. They're going to be able to shift up. You don't need to sleeve these at all. The 3D components are twice as thick as most. You get the ant meeples that are just fantastic. I wish there were more games. And you get some extra stuff that you really don't need at all. Great job, guys. So here's the rule book. You can see a picture of all the components. Each ant has this matching type. And if you wanted to play with double bites, you could. But that's not included in here. Here is set up with a picture. You're going to have letters corresponding to everything, and then gameplay as you go through. Very, very simple game. And then it kind of tells you a little about the cards and how to score at the end of the game. My biggest pet peeve of this game is that there's no explanation for these. These are going to shake up the rules quite a bit. The actual core of the game is pretty easy. We had some ambiguities in these, and there really was nowhere to refer to. We just kind of house rolled it really fast. It's fine with the length of this game and how simple it is. But just kind of know that you may have some arguments. What does that exactly mean? And it's not in the rulebook. This is kind of what it would look like to have bites set up. Now, there are more than just what you see here, but this is enough for me to give you an explanation of how the game works. The game is going to end when all of the ants get to the ant hill. When all of them are there, then the game will end. Whoever's on the top. So this means that if yellow's on the top,
all of the yellow cheese items are worth 4 points. If green is on the second stop, that means all the green are worth 3 points, down to 2, 1, and 0. And the way you get there is if you're here and you want to move the yellow one, and there are no yellow ones until you get to the anthill, then you just kind of put it up there. You will also, when you put an ant on there, you will have these little tiny ones that will be stacked up, and you just get whatever's on top, and it counts as if it was one of the bigger ones. But that's how that is going to work. So on a turn, what you're going to do is you can choose any of the ants. You don't control purple, red, or yellow, and you're going to move it. So let's say I wanted to move red. I would put him on the apple. Then I could take the one before it or the one behind it. I could take this, and it would go into my scoring, and I would set this aside for me, and that one is now mine. And then the next player could go. Now, if he chose, let's say, green, and there's nothing behind him, so he can't take that, the one in front of him is occupied, then he would have to take this one, and that would go into his thing. And then let's say the third person was going, they're like, I want to move green too. Fantastic. Then you could add either the purple or the wine, whichever one that you wanted. Now, the wine usually isn't worth any point because there's no ant that combines it, so there'll be a power card that will score that. And the chocolate isn't worth any points at all. It will only activate the chocolate one. So what's going to happen, being the game, you're going to choose a red card, a yellow card, a chocolate card, and a blue card. And these will kind of just change up the game. So when ants go to anthill, they take the highest available spot. On this one, they take the lowest available spot. Ants take space on the ant in this order, always taking the space earlier in the list if it's available. 4, 2, 0, 3, 1. This kind of shakes things up. The yellow ones will score the wine. For each wine is worth 1 point for each wine you have. Each wine is worth 1 point for each food type you have the most of. These will just kind of shake those up. The chocolate ones will give you powers, not points. Instead of your turn, move an ant back to the start of the trail and take 2 moves with it. After your turn, take a second food for the ant you just moved. So these will just give you things. And then when you use the chocolate ones, you will give it up in order to utilize the power, and then you no longer have it. But remember, they're not worth points anyway. The final one is the blue. Each gold is worth 5 points. Replace anthill bonus food with small food tokens. They don't score points. All your matching foods are worth an extra 2. The first player to move an ant over a stick must take it. Each stick is worth -2. So just little things that you can do to kind of mess up the game. And that is how you play Bites.
Who should buy this game? This is a light filler, something I would have while people are showing up, playing around. The scoring is a little wonky. I think you got to wrap your mind around that, especially for non-gamers who aren't used to more elevated scoring. It's going to be variable. Every time you play, it's going to score a little bit differently. I think that's going to be important. Nothing you can't overcome. So, lighter gamers, lightweight, filler, something you can really enjoy in a conversational game that I think works in all aspects. Yeah, if you play it too often, I think you'll get tired of it, but it could stay on your shelf for a very long time. Keeper for us.